Hello, welcome to another video, and this time we're going to use Unreal and its new chaos system to make some destructible things. I already made destructible videos. This one is focused for Unreal and will be very basic setup here. Now, I want to give you a breakdown of what's happening first. So we have a geometry. This can be anything you have available. Grab a basic cube here, and we're going to fracture that geometry into pieces. Now with chaos, we can actually do this in game engine. So we can create all of these pieces inside of the game engine, but of course make sure you're not going too high in the count, so keep that on the lower side. So when we simulate this, it will fall down. So with Unreal Chaos, what is special here, or what is new here, will be a field system. So otherwise, the pieces will just fall down. But what we can do is we can create different fields to say what needs to happen in that area. So either in that area, pieces need to break, they need to explode, or they can also need to stop simulating or be seen as an anchor point. Quickly summarizing some pros and cons or first impressions about chaos here. So we have an editor workflow. We can do everything in Unreal. We have flexible field systems, so we can really make all of these cool fields and define what's happening. We have multiple fracturing levels on models to make them more complex. We also have pre-bake options or cache options to cache a simulation. Chaos has also support for Niagara and also other features, so it can really talk to different aspects of Unreal Engine. Then a few cons here. Traction controls can sometimes feel lacking, for example, especially to Houdini, where I can do a lot of specific fracturing and do double checks if pieces are too small and things like that. And also the field systems are also a small downside, is that we need to create them from scratch and we need to set them up by hand, and there is also a learning curve to this, which you will see in a moment. At the recording of this video, Unreal 5 is in early access, and also Chaos is probably in development still. So in Unreal 5 now, we're going to make sure first our plugins are all installed. So make sure Chaos is all enabled, and also the Chaos field system is enabled. So that's very important to have that all enabled. So we're going to start out by a basic shape. So you can grab any model. I'm just going to grab a cube here, and we're going to fracture that cube into pieces. So we're going to go here to the fracturing option, and we want to create a new fracturing object. So we will have a file containing all of the fractured pieces. So we can now go to our fracturing methods, and we can say how many pieces we want. So all the way at the bottom here, we can say the minimum and maximum pieces we would like to have. So of course, keep this on the lower side. So here it's quite low, so 39. And we can actually do another level of fracturing. So we can have multiple levels of fracturing, which can make the models look way more interesting than just one level. So keep it on the low and you can have quite interesting effects. So when I press simulate now, this will happen. So it's not super interesting and looks a bit weird. So we're going to go here to our file and we want to edit properties. So right now what is actually happening is we have a box collision. So when I simulate, each piece will actually have a box collider. So either we change that, or what we can do is we can also change that size of that object. There is a setting for that. It might not be obvious immediately, but you need to here go to collision object reduce percentage. And if we, for example, set this to 50% and save, and we press now simulate, we will actually now have a more proper simulation on that. So that is very interesting to know, and it might not be obvious at the first time, but definitely play around with this value to tweak it until you have a good result. Now, if you want to have something a bit more as accurate collision, so as you could see, you have, for example, a sphere. So each piece will contain a sphere collider, but we can also use level set, which is basically a more accurate version. So the level set volumes is a sample of a rigid body using a voxelized grid and generate a signed distant field for the geometry. So this basically means that we will have a higher accuracy, but at the cost of performance with a higher memory footprint. So we're going to have to be careful with that. Of course, when we set this to level set, we can also use the level set minimum, maximum resolution, the maximum clustering, minimum clustering. So we can play around with some of these values to sort of like tweak it a bit more. You will actually see that this is way more interesting and a bit more realistic. If you use level set, it's also recommended to use the particle implicit. So this is here where we define the collision behavior on how it sort of like calculates in the background. So you can choose between those two types. There are some more settings you can play around with, like certain mass settings, having certain max collision particles, things like that. So those are the settings you want to definitely tweak. Also interesting, if you have multiple levels of destruction, we can also add multiple damage thresholds. So basically here I have a main damage threshold. So this is when the object should break. And then I have another damage threshold when, for example, the smaller pieces should break. So when I press play, we will have the main breakage of the object, but now we also have a smaller breaking of every object. So now let's go into the next topic and talking about creating the field systems. So we have a fractured object, but I want to control how it should behave. So first of all, let's just grab my box and I'm going to just place it on the plane. So right now, if I simulate, it's not doing anything because it's just sitting there. So I'm going to create a blueprint here, and we're going to say a specific blueprint from the field component system. So we're going to use that. We're going to just say that this is like a basic impact or simulation. And we're going to open the blueprint. We're going to add a collision sphere. So this is where I want my impact to be happening, or the simulation. Now we also want something else, which is a radial fall-off. So this will then also contain some interesting data. Now in the blueprint itself, we only need the begin. And in the begin, we want to set or create a certain field. So we want to add a field to that blueprint. And we have multiple options here to setting or inner field. So make sure you also enable it, so enable field. And you can have, for example, velocity, different forces, different angular forces. But in this case, we're going to just use the external strain. Now we want to create a field. So we're going to use our radial fall-off. We're going to add a radial fall-off or set a radial fall-off. And we want to give it to certain properties. So we want to, first of all, this to be at the same location of my sphere. So we're going to grab the world position. And we're also going to get the scale or the radius of that sphere. So they are exactly the same size, so I can visualize that inside of a game engine. So now we set the field sphere. We're going to press save and compile. And now let's test it in game. So here we're going to grab my sphere, make it bigger. And when we press play, nothing is happening. So why is nothing happening is because we need to set a certain force or magnitude. So when I increase that value, we will now actually have an effect. So this is also reflecting to our damage threshold. So if I go under my damage threshold, like 200 or lower, nothing will actually happen. So if I go above my 250 damage threshold, like for example 260, it will actually now start to add damage to that effect. So this is very interesting to have different objects having different damage thresholds and effects based on what you're doing. Now let's also quickly here improve our graph by adding some force. So we mainly here did a external strain, which is basically saying that the pieces needs to break, but we don't necessarily say give it a certain velocity or move the pieces to a certain direction. So let's add another field. So we can just, for example, copy paste this here, and we can connect our field component and connect the other ones as well. And we're going to now change our type to, for example, something with more of a velocity. So maybe let's use the linear force. So we're actually going to add a force to that. And we can also now add a new component here, which is then a radial vector. So as it's sort of like in the name is the radial vector, so it will be a vector that goes in all directions from one position. So let's grab that here. And now we're going to have to set the radial vector, so give it some values. So first of all, we can set the force, the magnitude. So we're going to set this quite high in a moment. And we also need to set the position where to spawn this. So I want to spawn this in the middle of my sphere. So my sphere is sort of like this placeholder. So let's use that position here. So at the middle of my sphere, we will actually emit a source of force. So let's plug that in here in the field, go high. So let's give it a quite high number, let's say 10,000, which is pretty high. But we should probably then see a good result. So let's press save, and let's go into our editor. And as you could see, it sort of like completely destroyed the whole object. The pieces destroyed each other. So the pieces that would fly and touch the other pieces will actually sort of like break them. So if I now, for example, with my sphere here, we will now have that force. So you can play around with that. So based on that force, we can say how much we want it. This field system really has a lot of flexibility, and you can make so much more than doing these basic things. Another field is, for example, an anchor field. So let's say I want this object in the air, or I want an object to attach to a wall or something else. We can have a anchor field. So when I press the simulation button, the object actually stays in the middle of the air without like falling down. So how do we create something like this? So let me quickly go over that. So again, this will be a blueprint. We're going to make a new blueprint, and we're going to do very similar steps as we actually did with the force field. So one of the first things that is actually done here, or sort of like recommended doing, is removing the construction fields. This will remove all field components from chaos in the world. So we sort of like start with a clean field, and then we're going to add a new field, which is just the dynamic state. So just as before, we're going to have to say what we want to do. So basically the dynamic state is saying what needs to happen to the physics type, or what needs to happen to in the simulation. So on our object here, we have, for example, multiple dynamic states. So either, for example, something can be sleeping, kinematic, or static. So if I put this on static, actually my whole simulation will not work anymore. So with an anchor field, what we want to do is we want to specifically say that everything in the field needs to be a static component. So that means that it won't be seen as a simulation object. So further, how do we do that? So first, again, we're going to make a fall off region or a field. In this case, we're going to use a box. So very similar on how we set up the sphere. We're just going to place a box in our scene. I just took a normal geometry box with a opacity material. You can also just use the box collider. Then we also need to create the fall off for that box. So we're going to link the fall off to the position of this box. We also need a culling field, which I will talk about in a moment. And we also need a uniform integer, which I'm also going to talk in a moment. So when we create our box, so this is the area where I'm going to check what pieces needs to be static. Then in the culling field, I'm going to combine my fall-off box with actually a uniform integer. So in the culling field, we will sort of like combine multiple values. So the box will say this is the region, and the value of the field will actually be here my uniform integer. So our field value, or the result of our field, needs to be this uniform integer. And what is special here is this thing over here. So we're going to create here a new variable. And this variable is a special e-object state. So here you can pick this one. So state type enum. And this will actually return the multiple states that we can apply on chaos objects. So for example, I want my object to be static when it's inside of the box. So then we just grab here that value. We say get. Then we need to convert this to an integer. So convert to integer. And then we can plug that in over here. So we have that value. So when we combine the culling field and set the culling field, this is ready to go. Now to set up in editor, you will need to grab here your blueprint with that setup. And you will need to scale it to, for example, like so, or you can choose that. And we're going to make sure, of course, that we are capturing this region. Now, if I would now press simulate, nothing will happen. And the reason of that is here, we need to actually initialize a anchor field here. So we actually need to specify in this case. So we need to click here on the plus icon and add our anchor field. And now when I press simulate, it will now be seen as an anchor field, and only the part where I have my impact here will actually be seen as simulation object. So this is now only simulating. And this is how you can get more and more control with these fields. And here's where I'm going to finish off the video. So I showed you some very basic concepts on how to make something destructible, how to set up some of the fields, give you some explanation on that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to like, subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next one.